Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special midweek webinar. Today, we are doing another app showcase. This application was written by Inku and is the Tuno app, which is a social app that allows you to connect to the Foursquare, Godwalla networks, and various other chicken networks here. And with no further ado, I'm going to turn presentation over to Federico Gonzalez of Inku.
Hi everyone. Well, my name is Federico Gonzalez. I work for Inku, and we developed this consumer-based app with the Roads framework. And we're going to be presenting first a small overview of the big picture of what we tried to accomplish from the beginning. Then we're going to give an overview of the application, and at last we're gonna walk through the code, the important parts. And mainly we're going to touch on native mapping and how we implemented JQ Touch, and finally on communicating with multiple third-party APIs. Well, to know we're supporting three different services for now: Brightkite, Foursquare, and Gowalla. The main features are you can log in to these services by entering your username and password, which are stored on the device. Then you can display a list of your nearby places, which are searched based on your current location, which is searched via the geolocation class on roads. Then, based on your GPS location, we pull the places which are nearby, and you can see a list. You can see the details of each place and which of your friends are currently in this place. You can check into Foursquare and Brightkite. We've started supporting these two services because they allow the basic HTTP basic auth, and Gowalla allows only OAuth, which we plan to support in the future. Also, you can see the latest check-ins in chronological order from your friends from Foursquare and Brightkite. And also, we implemented a zip code location. So if, for example, your GPS is not available at the moment, or if your phone doesn't have a GPS, then you can enter your zip code, and we'll fetch the location for you and store this location. And then, based on this new location, we'll retrieve all the places nearby. You can also check for places if the location has changed, and we do this in the background. We also implemented JQ Touch, so we have a very sleek transitions from the list to the place details, and we use basic authentication with each of the services. So in general, this is how it works. First, when you go to the index page, you get a list of the nearby places based on your location. And we do this by, first we select the service from the ones that you entered your login and password information, and we do an async HTTP call to the service. Then when we retrieve the callback from the service, we store this information locally in the device. And then we check if there is another available service from which we can retrieve places or friends. And if there are, then we do the whole cycle again. So this allowed us to reuse a lot of the code, and will allow us in the future to implement new services like maybe Facebook Places or Yelp or any other service. Well, now we're gonna walk through the application to show you how it looks. So here is the application. And when we open the application, it's gonna ask us directly what our credentials are. So for example, if I go to Foursquare and enter my email, password, and we can retrieve the picture from the service and basic information, and it allows us anytime to log out from the service. So once we have this information, we can start going to the Places tab and retrieve the nearby places from Foursquare. So we have the list. The list is limited to 10 places. And if we could click any of the places, then we have the details of the place. We have the name, the category, and we can see a map of the current place. And we can see if there are any recent check-ins, which in this case there aren't. And we also can check into the service. So you can optionally include a comment. And this communicates to Foursquare and stores the check-in. Also, like you can see here, there are these icons, which I will tell you a little bit later what they mean. Also, we can have a list of our friends' activity, so we can see which friends were on which places and when, and if they had any comment. So now we're gonna store our credentials for another service, in this case Gowalla. And now, if we go to places, it re-retrieves all the places, and it's taking a little bit longer because it goes and fetches the places from both third-party services. So right now, as you can see, here we have, for example, the Avista Hospital, which was found on both Foursquare and Gowalla networks. If we go to this place, we can also see the logo of the category. In this case, it's a hospital. We can also check in, and we can see the current check-ins from our friends. In the case from Gowalla, it retrieves the check-ins for all the people. First, it retrieves the places of your friends, and then any other person that was there. We can also see a map of all the places. And we can see information on these light boxes. And finally, we can also log into BrightKite. And it does basically the same thing. It goes to the 3D services and retrieves all the places, store them on the device, and then we can navigate them through here. And also, when we go to friends, it also retrieves the friends activity from BrightKite and from Foursquare. We're currently not doing Gowalla because its API, it's only allowing us to retrieve the activity from one friend at a time. So if we wanted to request the latest check-ins from each of our friends, it would be a lot of API calls, which would slow the application a lot. So right now we are only fetching the recent activity from Foursquare and from BrightKite. And at any time you can just log out from each of the services, and then you only see the information from the services that are remaining. Well, now we're gonna go to the code, and as I told you earlier, we're gonna talk about the three main things, which is native mapping technology that Rhodes provides, the recently launched JQ Touch, which allows us to do these kind of interfaces pretty easily. And lastly, how to communicate to three third-party services. So this is the code of our application. We divided in three main objects. We have a friends object, a location object, and a place object. The main object obviously is place, where most of the activities is going on. So the approach we follow is that we abstracted a lot of the functionality, like for example, we received the information from the API in different formats, and then we abstracted all of that into the model or into a helper, and then in the controllers we only created the objects, but already in the structure that we wanted them to be. So first, we call the show places action, which checks if there is any service available, and if there is, we go then to the get places action, and in the get places action we have to check for position, because there are several alternatives what can happen. First, if you have already a position and there already exist in places, then we show you automatically the current places, so it doesn't reload the page every time. But in case it doesn't, it has to update the location or get the user location on the background. So in this case, for example, if we didn't have a location, we would go to the get nearby places, and the get nearby places is the action that goes and calls to a third-party service. So in this case, if we had a location already, then we use this places URL helper method, which based on the service we are currently checking, it abstracts the URL desired for the API. So for example, in this case, if it were the Foursquare service, it would generate the URL required to get the places for this specific location. So then it goes with the row async HTTP method. We can directly call the Foursquare API, for example. And then we use a flag on the service. So because we're going to be looping through this action several times until we have retrieved all the places that we want to store on the device. So we need this flag to know that we already have retrieved the places for this current service. So in this example, if we were fetching the Foursquare places, we would generate the Foursquare API URL, and then on the callback, we receive this information, and as I told you earlier, with this get places hash, depending on the service, we generate a standardized hash which we can use then to build the places object. So in this case, if there aren't any places, then we build each place from the hash which was retrieved, and store each place in the local database. In case it's not the first service, then we do a merge based on the name, and also we check if there are two similar names but are very far apart in the location, then we store them separately. But mainly it's based on the name. And so when we are done fetching places from all the services, we navigate to the index, where we fetch all the locally stored places, and then we fetch the location, and then we display this information to the user. Also, as you could see, well, that's the main road we follow to fetch places. Then we have the show map, which uses Rode's native mapping view to display the places in a map, which we can then scroll and zoom and check which places are there and where. So Rodes makes it very easy for us to display this array. We just have to scroll through all the places and build an array. And this array is here abstracted in the place model. It's called the build annotations array. Annotations are each dot on the map. So here we loop through each place, and then we create an array of hashes with these attributes: the latitude, the longitude, the title, and subtitle. Title and subtitle are used for the little gray bubble that appears when you click on one of the dots on the map. And the latitude and longitude are the attributes necessary to pinpoint the dot on the map. And then we just return this array and just pass it as one of the keys to the parameters to the map view create method, and then the view is automatically created. In this case, we used JavaScript to display the map view on top of the current view. So we could save, and we didn't have to redirect to another page and to make the application feel snappier. We can see this in the index. Here we have, well, in the index we just iterate over the places which we have stored on the database and display the name. We also we use a method that Rodes provides to calculate the distance based on the longitude and latitude. So we calculate the distance comparing your actual longitude and latitude and the longitude and latitude from the place we retrieve from one of the services. And based on this, we can show you here, like, for example, 0.47 miles, 0.1 mile, etc. And for example, here, as I was telling you, here we call through, in this case, through jQuery, we call the action show map through JavaScript. So what this does is this puts the map view on top of the current view. So the map view the index which you are seeing, the list of places, never goes away. So when you click close on the map, you go back to the list very quickly. So there's no delay. Also, we use jQuery to display the zip code and to update the location in case the GPS from the device wasn't available. Well, that's mainly the places, and we use a very similar approach for retrieving the friends activity. We have an index page where all the all the activity from your friends is displayed, and we also use a update friends method, which checks if there are any saved services credentials, and if there aren't, you always get redirected to the credentials tab. And so here's the same thing. We loop through all the services, and on each time we call the API for each of the services, and store and merge this information on the device. And well, for each of these calls, we use, like, when the user input their credentials when they logged in, for each call we use this authentication option in the Rosync HTTP, and here we specify the type basic, and then we use the username and the password that the user gave us for each of the services, and then we use this information to call Foursquare or Bytekite, and then to retrieve the information for this specific user. Well, then there is the location method and controller, which basically stores the location. In this case, we created this controller to handle the zip code. In case you didn't have a GPS location, then we ask you for your zip code. And here we're using a API from Google, where you give Google the zip code, and Google gives you back a longitude and latitude based on that zip code. So then we can handle all the logic in the places controller just as if we're a normal GPS location. And in this case, we just display a form. Right now, I can show it to you because here we do have a location, but normally it would display a pop-up in the view, and then you enter your zip code, and then it just saves it locally, and it displays you the places for this new zip code. Well, and last thing, we have the user object. So each user is each one of the services, and we save a registry for each of the services that we want to use. In this example, we used the 3 services mentioned, and for each user we save just the username and password, and then retrieve all the information based on this. And we also need a couple of flags, well, 3 flags actually, to manage all the loopings we do in the friends activity, in the places controller, and also in the check-ins. Because one thing I didn't mention is how we do the check-ins. So the check-ins is also the same. We loop through each of the services until we have all the services checked for the current check-ins for a specific place. And here, one of the benefits of using jQuery is, for example, if I go to this place, oh, JQTouch, I'm sorry. For example, if I log in to Gowalla and Foursquare, and I go to the places list, if I go, for example, to this place, it's going to load the current check-ins for this place. And because the HTML is already generated, and in the page I don't have to do anything else. If I go back and then I go forth again, then the check-ins are already generated. So that was one of the many benefits that JQ Touch provided for us. Also here we have the view map, which we implemented the same way, only like a layer over the current view, so we can go to the map and back very quickly. Well, I think that's it for it. I don't know if any of you have any questions regarding the application, the code, the strategies we used.